Okay, so we are going to do a real short lesson here, three cards on bureaucracy. So just go ahead and jot this down. Pause when you need to, but listen to the lesson. That way you get the explanation. All right, bureaucracy, everyone's favorite topic. Woohoo! Okay, or not. Everybody immediately starts thinking of the DMV. All right, cool. Purposes and what it includes. So flip it over to the back side. So this is just a little review. You should know this now, but let's make sure we have it. So executive branch, it is part of the executive branch. The purpose of the bureaucracy is to enforce law. All of the departments that you see here, that's part of the cabinet, except for the vice president. And their job is to enforce the law passed by Congress as part of the executive branch. That's the bureaucracy. It includes several different things here. So let's go through this. It includes departments, okay, which is what the cabinet is. And departments are headed by secretaries. So departments, cabinet, headed by secretaries. The only one that doesn't have a secretary is the Justice Department. And the Justice Department actually has an attorney general, and the attorney general is the head of that department. And the attorney general is literally the top the attorney general is literally the top attorney for the United States, top attorney for the United States. Okay, it also includes agencies. So departments and agencies are usually under the departments, and agencies are smaller. So you have like the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. You have the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, which is, of course, our spy organization, foreign affairs type stuff. So those are agencies. They have like a very specific purpose. Also, we have commissions. Commissions usually are independent of departments. So we have the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. And of course, the Federal Communications Commission, or the FCC, actually controls the airwaves. So they regulate what goes on TV. And there's the famous moment here on the screen of Janet Jackson having her wardrobe malfunction at the Super Bowl in 2004. Now, of course, the Super Bowl we just had, there have been complaints at the FCC because Lopez was basically pole dancing. So there's been complaints about whether that was appropriate for children. So commissions, have certain specific. The FEC is another one, of course, Federal Elections Commission. And then we also have government corporations. A government corporation, like, supposed to make a profit and kind of run separately from the government, but when they don't make a profit and they lose money, then the government subsidizes them. So two examples of that are the Sally Mae student loans. And if you go and take out student loans, it'll probably be through Sally Mae, and then you'll come to hate her because she will live with you for a very long time if you take out too many student loans. And then the other thing is Amtrak, which is of course, the train. Those are actually government corporations. Those are so they're like kind of independent of the government, but government sometimes has to bail them out, which if they don't run well. And then we have bureaus. Bureaus, again, usually are gonna be underneath one of the departments. So they work within a department. For example, the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, that's under the Justice Department, and of course they investigate federal law violations. Okay, so sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. So if you want to pause and finish that, and maybe take a minute and study it, those are what the bureaucracy is made of: departments, agencies, commissions, government corporations, bureaus. Somehow there's an acronym in there that one of you can come up with and then tell me later. That would be awesome. Okay, I'm moving on to the next one very quickly. I told you this is a fast one. All right, bureaucracy, responsibilities, 2.68. Bureaucracy, responsibilities, 2.68. Make sure you write what's in gray there, responsibilities, because you need to know what the heck the card's about. So the last one was like the definition and everything. This one has responsibilities and bureaucracy. Okay, well, we know, flip over, well, we probably don't know this actually. So bureaucracies get what's called delegated discretionary authority for rulemaking. It is a very specific, complicated phrase. Let me read it again. You write it down. Delegated discretionary authority for rulemaking. Finish writing that, and I'll explain it. Delegated discretionary authority for rulemaking. Basically, what this fancy phrase means is that bureaucracies are given power by Congress, that's the authority word, Delegated meaning from Congress. They're going to get it. It comes down from above. So delegate means they bring from above. Authority means power. And then discretionary means like you get to use your own judgment. And what do they get to do with that? They get to make rules. So a lot of times Congress will pass a law and they don't say every single thing that's supposed to happen. They pass a law like let's say Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and it'll say the Health and Human Services Secretary will create a package of health plans and regulations for every health plan in the country. And then the bureaucracy, Health and Human Services, like does a study, comes up with a plan, and then they enforce that. And that's the rulemaking power. Congress basically gives up its ability for rulemaking to a bureaucracy. By the way, this is Congress giving up power. Congress doesn't have to do this, and oftentimes probably should spend a little more time before they pass a law rather than do this. But bureaucracies get a lot of power because of this. This is a really, really important key point here that you need to remember. All right. So basically, the rulemaking, underline that, put a little arrow down. And I want you to write writing and enforcing regulations. That's what delegated discretionary authority means, the ability to write and enforce regulations. Pause it if you need to. And then another responsibility of a bureaucracy is they have to testify before congressional oversight committees. When I say congressional oversight, that's basically what we call hearings. Okay, so Congress will have hearings to think about making a bill, and then Congress also does oversight hearings like executive branch investigations. And they're just checking up on the EPA, they're checking up on the FBI, they're checking up on an agency, making sure that they're doing the right thing and not wasting money, not no corruption, and that's called congressional oversight. And so members of the bureaucracy, especially the leadership, the secretaries and the undersecretaries and all the different people that are appointed by the president and others, they have to testify in front of Congress if Congress says to. All right, that's it for that one. So pause, get it. We're moving on. Almost done. Last one. So 2.69 bureaucracy rulemaking examples. Now, I'm going to give a rulemaking example on each slide. You just keep making them down the side. This is probably going to take up a lot of room in the back because I've got to have one for like each of the different types of bureaucracies. Sorry to give you the examples, but you need to have them for AP wise. So bureaucracy rulemaking examples. So then, by the way, a lot of these are super simple. Okay, there's a millionaire you'll do at the end of this, and you need to know these, but they're like kind of obvious once you think about it. All right, here we go. Bureaucracy, 2.69. All right, so first off, Department of Homeland Security. This is the newest department. It was created after September 11th, and their delegated rulemaking authority, discretionary authority, is airport security and terrorism. So Congress doesn't pass a law and say Homeland Security, thou shalt make. Look at that little thing that you walk through that takes like a basically almost a nude image of you, X-rays you. That the thing you walk through there on the right or the left, they don't say, "Hey, you need to create this thing that does this." No, that was developed by Homeland Security through the discretionary rulemaking authority. And that's Homeland Security is the one who makes you go through that. But Congress, that's what Congress wanted them to do to keep us safe before we fly. We don't want people getting on planes with a gun or a knife or potentially a bomb. Okay, second one, Department of Transportation. They regulate highways, air travel, and trains. Okay, Department of Transportation, highways and air and trains. Any air travel, any trains. I mean, it makes sense, right? And look at on the left hand side here once you're done. I have some examples of this, just like how detailed. I actually pulled this from the Department of Transportation's website because I can do that. There's this thing called the interwebs, and you can go and find things on it. Okay, so you look here, you see the truck, and it says exactly. You ever see those ones where the cars are hanging off the back of the truck like that? Always scares the crap out of me. You always think like the car is going to fall off and roll in the road to you. I don't know if that anyone else has that problem, but I do. And it shows you what the exact length of this truck can be. So the truck can't be distance. If a state trooper pulled one over and that truck had cars like this one, and it was too far, then they could actually be fined. And then look down at the regulation down here, 393.75 regulation. Okay. No motor vehicle shall be operated on any tire that has body ply or belt material exposed to the tread or sidewall. So your tires can't have belt material exposed. That has any tread or sidewall separation, is flat, or has a cut to extend that the body, plier, belt materials exposed. So those are things that Department of Transportation does. Okay, next one. Department of Veteran Affairs. Okay, obviously, veteran care. They have all kinds of discretion about, you know, making sure that veterans get care that they need. And if they, and then a lot of times they get called into Congress for oversight because there's been a lot of complaints about the lack of good veteran care. We've even done an essay on that. Cool. Next one. Department of Education. We talked about Common Core earlier in the year, and No Child Left Behind. We talked about earlier in the year, and the Department of Education is the one who imposes. I should say, Department of Education is the one who enforces, Congress's laws, and a lot of times Congress doesn't specify. Congress members are not experts on education, so the Department of Education has experts that write a lot of these things. All right, good. Next one. Environmental Protection Agency. This is obvious. Air and water. Congress passes a law, the Clean Air Act, and says we want clean air, but Congress members don't know how to make the air clean, so they expect the EPA to figure out the regulations and the technology that's needed at different places. And it's largely been successful. We've talked in this class about how much cleaner air is now versus even 40 years ago. It's unbelievable. Okay, next one. A federal election commission. We've talked about the FEC already. It's been involved in a couple court cases, and but they are the ones who enforce campaign contributions, PACs, things like that. Not so much super PACs. So they are the branch that does that, and Congress gives them that power. Okay, Security and Exchange Commission. I think this is the last one. It is the last one. Security and Exchange Commission, SEC, not to be confused with the FEC. You got to keep these straight. There is an expectation that you know the different acronyms here: EPA, FBI, SEC, FEC. But the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, so remember the word exchange? Think stock market. Exchange stocks. I exchange what? Stocks. Exchange stocks. Okay. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, they're the ones who set the stock market rules. This was created after the stock market crash of 1929, and because there wasn't a lot of regulation in the market, and people basically cheated and lied, and they lied about how their company was doing in order for stock prices to go up. And then when the crash happened, it was bad, as you can see from the chart on the left. So the idea for the Security and Exchange is to make sure that stock market is being done without corruption. It's being allowed to sell stocks without there being corruption. Awesome. That's that one. There's a millionaire that you need to do, and maybe another practice or two that you need to do. Make sure you upload those to the appropriate lesson on Google Classroom. Thank you.